Going on, everyone? I hope you're having a terrific day. I apologize about the camera quality. I'm in a hotel room right now, getting ready to, waiting for my flight back to Nashville. I had 3 full days of the funeral, so we had 2 days of the wake, 8 hours each day, and then yesterday we had the full service, and my family had lunch catered, and that was another 8 hours. Very emotionally exhausting because they were just, you just had to listen. People got up and shared memories about my aunt, and, the entire Pittsburgh police force drove around the city to all the places that she grew up with, that she grew up as a child. And my uncle and her met when they were 13, stayed together, until she passed. So, she's all that he knows, and that was incredibly sad to hear his story and understand that she's no longer with him. And, so that was everything yesterday. So I had to put my coaching calls on, postpone them, because I had to get there very early to secure a spot at the funeral home. And I wasn't sure, how long it was going to go till, but I will be back in Nashville tomorrow. Things resume. I will be waking up and I will be back on my regular routine. I miss my home, and I wanted to share something really incredible about, something I discovered about tinnitus that I think that a lot of you might get something out. So when I was at the funeral home, I met a lot of my family that I hadn't talked to in many years, and I met one of my uncles, and I don't think I've spoken to him maybe over 8 years. It has to be. And I was talking to him, and he said he had tinnitus. Okay, and he's like almost deaf. He needs a hearing aid, and he says he can't hear anything but ringing. And I was talking to him. He wasn't at all concerned about it. He's like, he said this to me at one point because I was talking to him. I was trying to tell him something, and he said, "I'm sorry, I can't hear anything. All I hear is ringing." His is remarkably bad, and he can't hear anything but a ringing. Essentially, he needs to get a hearing aid. And he's just, the way he carried himself was just so nonchalant. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, he was like, would crack jokes about it, and wasn't at all concerned by it. Is what it is. And I was remarkable. I was very inspired by that, just that attitude. Like, kind of like, the show will go on. It's okay. I'm gonna be okay. This will not, be the end of me. And I realized, like, both my brothers have tinnitus, and there's other people, because I was talking to my uncle, and I'm like, well, who else do you know has it in the family? And apparently some of my aunts have it. My grandma had it. And so I realized that there is probably, in my case, a genetic component, because I don't have any hearing loss. I've had my hearing tested, and it's fine. And so just knowing and understanding that I'm probably not to blame for my tinnitus. I may have done things to contribute to it, such as loud noise exposure, but I'm not entirely to blame. And I think something with tinnitus is a very complex thing. And I think there are probably many factors in the case of a tinnitus onset, and it's probably not completely your fault. And why is this important? I'm going to tell you why this is important. Because so much of the time we blame ourselves. And what if we're not entirely to blame? What if we're not entirely to blame? My recent onset that happened a few years back was because I had an ear infection. And I was like, I was blaming myself, I was like, well, if I only would have, caught it sooner, or I don't know, like, had better ear health, or like, I don't know, just something, taken allergy medicine, or not taken, ate so much yogurt, which can kind of thicken up the whatever, gets caught in your eustachian tube that causes an ear infection. If I wouldn't have done that, then I wouldn't be here with this hellish ringing in my ears. And that was really my thought process. And, just being able to go to this funeral and meet a bunch of people in my family and realize, like, So I'm probably not entirely to blame. It's probably genetic for me, a big part of it. If a great deal of my family has it, it's probably is genetic. And I realized something else too. Like a great deal of my family, my aunt that passed away was on ADHD medicine. She had ADHD. So is my cousin. She has ADHD. She's on ADHD medicine. A lot of my family has anxiety. Half of my family is on anxiety medicine. So mental health is a reality in my family, and so I don't feel as alone. I feel like, okay, and I'm with my people, my family, and they understand me, and I'm taking the time to understand them better. I didn't have the closest relationship with a lot of my family. I don't really think a lot of that's my fault, but really understanding that, like, okay, this whole anxiety thing and overthinking, my whole entire family does it. So, I don't feel so alone. Knowing my uncle has tinnitus and anxiety, I'm like, I don't feel so alone. It's okay. So I guess what the whole point of this video is to I encourage all of you to reach out to family and tell them what's going on. And you might be surprised. Maybe some of your family has it. Maybe there's genetic for you. And maybe it isn't completely your fault. And if you understand, like, oh, there's an anxiety in my family, then I think that you can kind of get these answers and start to piece things together and feel better about yourself, knowing that it might not be completely your fault. And it's probably not the best course of action to continue blaming yourself as if it's entirely your fault. So I'm going to stop the video here. If you want to do a coaching consulting with me about tinnitus, I have links below. I would love to work with you. I've seen tremendous results with the people that I work with. And, I firmly believe that getting someone to mentor with someone to help you is the first step in the best course of action. So I look forward to working with you. Until next time, I'll talk to you later. Peace.